Mahabharata, Chapter 11, Entered Draupadi, read by Nirvan Bajaj and Ekveer Bajaj. Mahabharata, Chapter 11, Entered Draupadi, read by Nirvan Bajaj and Ekveer Bajaj. Ved Vyasa's epic on the Bharat race was first recited in public by his disciple Vaishampayan at the behest of the ageless seer Vyasa himself. The recital took place in the august presence of King Janamjay, great-grandson of the grandson of Vyasa, and the many learned sages who had assembled for Janamjay's Sarpa Satra. The 10th session of our rendering of Vaishampayan's recital of Vyasa's Mahabharata recounted how Bhima, at the behest of Kunti, delivered both their Brahman host and the town of Ekachakra from the clutches of Rakshas Baka by slaying the tyrant. After Bhima slew Baka, the Pandavas, O monarch, passed their days at Ekachakra in the pursuit of Vedic studies. Vaishampayan then continued. Then there came another Brahman to the abode of their host, who, hospitable as he was, took the new guest into his house. Then the Pandavas and Kunti heard the many wonderful tales the Brahman had to tell of various pilgrim centers in provinces and cities and kings. Then, when he spoke of the marvelous births of Dhoumia and Drupada at the Yagna of Drupada, the Pandavas asked, "Why did the extraordinary birth of Dhoumia and Draupadi take place, O Brahman?" Thus questioned, the Brahman narrated all the events that led to the humbling of Drupada at the hands of Drona and of Draupada's subsequent distress. Then he said, "Bent on taking revenge, Drupada wandered about in search of Brahmins who excelled in achieving goals by performing rites. And he came upon the Brahman brothers Yaja and Upyaja in an ashram on the banks of Ganga and Yamuna. He said to Yaja, 'O Yaja, my hatred for Drona, the son of Bharadwaj, and the Guru of the Kurus burns me up. A supreme scholar of the Vedas and an expert wielder of the Brahma missile, he has defeated me in battle. No man on earth can overcome him. Obtain an invincible son for me who will slay Drona, and I will give you 10,000 kine.' Yaja agreed, and Drupada procured all that was needed. Towards the end of the rites, Yaja said to Draupada's queen, 'Come, daughter-in-law of Prishata, twin children are to be yours.' The queen cried out,
'Please wait for me a while, O Raja, till I purify myself to receive the offering. My face and my body need ablution. Oh, wait for me a while.'
But Yaja said, 'This offering prepared by Yaja and sanctified by Upyaja will bear fruit whether you are present or not.' And he poured the offering into the sacrificial fire. Then there sprang from the fire an awesome youth, radiant like a celestial and splendidly arrayed, who, as soon as he came forth, ascended a chariot and drove it around. Then a voice from the realms above said,
'This prince is born to kill Drona and the sorrow of the king and bring fame to the Panchals.'
The magnitude of the exultation of the Panchals when they heard this stained the very earth as it were. And then there emerged from the middle of the sacrificial platform a daughter for the Panchal king. And a voice from above said, 'This girl, dark of skin and the best of women, will be the cause of the fall of the Kshatriyas. Through her the will of the gods shall come to pass. She shall be the terror of much terror to the Kauravas.' Her eyes were dark and long, her hair was dark and curly, the fragrance that emanated from her body as from a blue lotus filled the air. She was matchless in beauty. And when she came forth, the queen said to Yaja,
'Let these children look upon me and none else as their mother.'
Yaja gave his assent. The Brahman then set about naming the children. He said, "Let this son of Drupada for his daring manner and wealth of armor be named Dhoumia, and this daughter Krishna for her dark complexion." Thus did Drupada obtain the twins through the great yajna. The Brahman continued. Soon after this, Drona, in deference to destiny, took Dhoumia to his abode and instructed him in the science of arms, thus safeguarding his own reputation. Smitten by all that they had heard, the sons of Kunti, those mighty heroes, became restless in mind. Observing the troubled state of her sons, Kunti said to Yudhishthira, "We have been living in the abode of this Brahman for many days. I think it is not proper for us to stay long at one place. If you agree, let us proceed to Panchal." And Yudhishthira replied, "Whatever you say is always for our good. Yet, I do not know whether my brothers will agree to go." Kunti spoke to Bhima, Arjuna and the twins, and then they gave their consent. It was then that my guru Vyasa visited them and spoke to them at length on duties and practices. After discussing these and many other topics, he said to them, "In days gone by, a great rishi had an accomplished and beautiful daughter who, because of her past karma, could not obtain a husband. In distress, she turned to obtain one. Propitiated by her penances, Lord Shiva appeared before her and said, "I am willing to grant you the boon you desire." She requested Shiva to give her the most virtuous husband, and she repeated this request again and again. Then Shiva replied, "You shall have your 5 husbands." The maid then said, "Oh Lord, I desire only 1 husband." Shiva replied, 5 times that you repeat your request for a husband. When you take on the next life, you shall have 5 husbands. That heavenly maiden has now been born in the house of Drupada, and she is destined to be your wife. Therefore, go to Panchal and take up your residence there. Beyond doubt, you will win her and much happiness." Having advised the Pandavas thus, my Guru took his leave of them and went his way. Then the Pandavas bid the Brahman farewell, saluted him, and set out. Turning their steps northwards, led by Arjun, who held a torch aloft, they walked day and night till they came to the banks of the Ganga. There, in that secluded spot, the king of the Gandharvas was sporting with his wives in the water of the river, and he heard the footfalls as they came along the riverside. When the Pandavas and their mother came into view, he shouted, "Stay where you are! The twilight hours are exclusive for the Yakshas, the Gandharvas and the Rakshasas. Keep your distance! Foolish men who venture out during these hours are slain by us." To this Arjun said, "O rover of the skies, the right to approach Ganga is not barred by time. No one can have any exclusive right to the oceans, the Himalayan ranges, or to Ganga, be it night or day or twilight." The Gandharva replied, "I can. I am an Agnaparagna, and my strength is my faith. This forest, all mine, is named after me. Here, leave alone men, even the divines, the Rakshasas, and the sorcerers fear to tread." Arjun replied, "The weak men heed your commands. We are strong enough to dare you even at this hour." Enraged by Arjun's words, the Agnaparagna readied his bow and began to shoot his deadly arrows. But Arjun warded them off with his torch. "Your threats, when hurled at seasoned warriors, are as futile as vanishing foam. I know the Gandharvas to be superhuman, so I shall fight you with celestial missiles." Arjun readied his bow. "The Agnya missile of Brahaspati, Guru of the Devas, has been given to me by my Guru Drona, who received it from Rishi Agnivesha." And Arjun released the missile. The blazing missile burned down the Gandharv's chariot and stunned the force of that weapon. He fell headlong from the chariot. As he fell, Arjun seized by his hair and dragged him towards his brother. Kumbhinasi, the Gandhar's wife, all anxious to save her husband's life, ran towards Yudhishthira and pleaded,
"Save me, O noble one! Save my husband and save me!"
Yudhishthira said to Arjun, "Dear brother, release him. Who would slay a foe defeated, humiliated, and in need of the protection of a woman?" Then Arjun said to the Gandharva, "Yudhishthira, the king of the Kurus, has saved you. Go hence with your life." When addressed thus, the Gandharva said, "I renounce the name of Agnaparna after my defeat. I have no claim to that boastful name. I have been fortunate in my encounter with you, the wielder of celestial weapons, O Arjun. And now I shall impart to you the secret lore of the Gandhars for magical powers. The secret science is called Chakshusi. It enables one to perceive what one desires to see in all the three worlds. It is this perception that elevates us to the level of the celestials, superior to the mortals. What prosperity does he not deserve whose mercy spares the life of a vanquished foe? I also wish you to give you and each of your brother 100 steeds born in the land of the Gandhars. They appear at the will of the owners, and so do they assume use or change speed." The Gandharva closed his eyes and bought many horses. "These horses of mine will leave nothing to be desired. Lean though they be, they know no fatigue, nor do they fall behind. They race with the speed of thought." But Arjun said, "O Gandharva, your offer of these gifts of skill or wealth, be they out of affection or gratitude, cannot be accepted by me." The Gandharva replied, "A meeting with a great man is always a source of great joy. Overwhelmed by what you have given me, I wish to give you my science. To conform to propriety, however, I will receive from you the Agniya missile." Then Arjun said, "I shall give you the missile and accept your horses. Let us remain friends forever." "O virtuous friend, we are scholars and we are warriors. Why did you attack us?" The Gandharva replied, "No man esteemed for his might will suffer a slight in the presence of women, and you wander without rites and without rituals and even without priests to guide you. A king should always select a consummate priest to acquire what he should, to protect his acquisitions. O Taptaya, that Brahman should be installed as priest who is Vedic scholar, who is blameless, truthful, dutiful and virtuous. O Taptaya, no king can ever aspire to be a world conqueror, his valor and pedigree notwithstanding without the guidance of a priest." Arjun then said, "Why do you, O Gandharva, address me as Taptaya? As the son of Kunti, we are Kaunteyas. But who is Tapti to us?" Thus, addressed, O monarch, the Gandharv told him the story of Rishi Vasishtha. With those guidance, King Samvarana regained his lost kingdom and won Tapti, the daughter of Surya, as his bride. And then the Gandharva said, "The son born to Tapti and King Samvarna was your ancestor, Kuru, and thus you are a Taptaya." Then Arjun asked, "O Gandharva, with your vast knowledge, you tell us which Brahman is to be chosen as our priest." The Gandharva replied, "Dhoumia, who practices penances in this forest, is to be your priest." Then, pleased at the turn of events, Arjun gave the secret of the Agniya missile to the Gandharva in propriety and said, "O noble Gandharva, let these horses be with you. We shall take them in the time of need." Then the Pandavas went to ashram of Dhoumia and welcomed them with wild fruits and roots and consented to become their priest. With Dhoumia as their priest, the Pandavas regarded their kinsmanship and their kingdom as already regained, and the daughter of Panchal already won in the Swayamvar. And the Brahman, discerning the intelligence, valor and steadfastness of the sons of Kunti, akin to that of the immortals, regarded them as already reinstated as sovereign kings by their own virtues. Then the kingly men accompanied by their mother and Dhoumia, walked on to attend the Swayamvar of the Panchal princess. On the way, they came upon a group of Brahmins, and those Brahmins, beholding the Pandavas, asked them,
"Where are you going? Where do you come from?"
Yudhishthira replied, "We are brothers who have come here with our mother from Ekachakra." The Brahmins then said, "We are on our way to the kingdom of the Panchals, where a grand Swayamvar is to be held. Kings and princes will assemble from far and near for that event. Those magnificent men, eager to win the hands of Draupada's daughter, Draupadi, will lavish with their donations of food and money. There will be bards and actors and dancers and athletes. At your behest, this handsome brother of yours with his sinew arms could fetch ample wealth. Come with us, enjoy the sights, and collect the gifts and come back. Who knows, Draupadi might choose the best of you, all handsome like the celestials." Hearing these words, Yudhishthira replied, "All of us shall go with you to the Swayamvar." And the Pandavas then walked on towards the land of the southern Panchals, ruled by Drupada. Resting now and then in forest bowers and tarrying by the sides of lakes, they finally reached the city of Drupada. After seeing the city and its ramparts, the Pandavas took their residence in the house of a potter and lived like mendicants. No one knew who they were. And thus ends the 11th session of our rendering of Vaishnampayan's recital of Vyasa's Mahabharata, the Mahabharata. Stay tuned for the next chapter, which is Mahabharata chapter 12, Draupadi Swayamvar. Please subscribe to this channel, like, share and comment on this video. Thank you and Namaste.